Let's hit a few. What do you say?
Why not? We're here.
Here we go.
We're here.
We didn't come here to lay up, right? We're going for it. Let's go. Good. Come back to an old swing thought that we used to have, which will help us, I think. All right, I'm going to place this little, thought I had, oh, here we go, even better. All right, so I'm going to take this little guy right here. Okay, we're going to place him right here. We're going to try to feel like we get that ball in the tee out of the ground, okay? So let's get the little ball before we hit the big ball. All right, hands just a little bit forward for me. So it's going to be like this. There you go. You feel how we got our hands just right in line with your left thigh there? Good. Good. Okay. Down and through. Better. Better. Okay. All right. Let's try to get that tee out of the ground for me, okay? All right.
Glad nothing's changed.
There you go. Well, the big thing is we got some loft on it, right? Okay, we got it up in the air. That's a good start. Okay. Okay. Good.
I've seen my tendencies haven't been.
There you go.
Consistency.
Good. All right. We're going to take a look down the line on this one, see how we're doing. All right, feel like we're standing tall. Good job. Get that tee out of the ground for me, please. Okay, we got it to go out to the right a little bit. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
All right.
It looks so awkward.
Well, I think our knees are just a little bent, but we'll kind of see just a little bit. That might be all right. Oh, yep. Okay.
Oh, look, I'm fishing.
Right, so we're getting the club a little bit inside of us. Okay. All right, and then we get the club just a little bit across the line here, just a little bit. Okay. And then we get real steep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let's start with our takeaway here a little bit. Let's try to get the club a little bit more outside. So let me kind of give you some visuals here. So go ahead and set up for me, please. Okay, so I'm going to place this right on over here just outside of our toe line. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to swing the club back. Okay, see how you're getting a little bit on inside that line? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we want to kind of feel like we keep it outside. All right, so you see how the shaft is kind of parallel to the ground now, or to this little alignment rod. Yep. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our left arm to go parallel to that. You see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, we can kind of see in the video here, right, if we kind of look here.
Oh yeah, she don't do that.
Right, so if I had an alignment stick down on the ground, right, this would be where it would kind of be, right? Your arm is going this way. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so if we kind of look at Xander here, all right, his arm goes in just a little bit, but it's a little bit more down the line than yours getting sucked into the inside a little bit. All right? And what that does for us is it really gets us kind of stuck a little bit.
Okay.
And what you do is you just move the club out and away from you.
Like I'm fishing.
Right, yeah. Good cast.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That's a recurring problem. Okay,
All right.
my problems are still my problems.
Absolutely. Okay, so all we want to try to do is we want to try to get the shaft of the club parallel when we get our hands just past our foot.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is we want to get our left arm parallel to that stick.
So just go up.
Oh yeah, Yeah,
Okay.
there you go, perfect. And if I could get you right there, okay, now you've got a good angle. You can drive that back down in front of you, right,
Okay.
instead of getting out over here.
Getting out and then, okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. So give me a couple practice swings and try to get a feel for that, okay? So shaft is going to be parallel to the ground or parallel to that stick when our hands get past our foot. Yeah, there you go. Yep. And then just kind of swing on down and through for me, please.
It kind
Okay.
of feels unnatural. I feel like I want to go back. Yeah. I feel like it feels like I'm not going like far back enough.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So the feeling that we're getting away from and getting towards, right, is that you have the feeling of letting your arms get back here,
Yeah.
right, real deep on us, right? Now we're keeping the club out in front of us, right? So it's going to feel a little bit shorter and tighter.
That's what, yeah.
Right? And that's going to be a good thing because now I can take the club and I can drive it back down in front of my chest.
Okay.
But once I get back over here,
Lose control of the.
well, we either do one of two things. We either dump it back here, or for you, you move your hands this direction to get the club back in position. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. So it should feel a little short and wide for us right now as we kind of move through this. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. So much better. Right? Right, get that left arm parallel to that stick down there. Good. Okay. Did you feel like you got a little bit too far back on that one?
Yes, on that one. That one I felt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Honest assessment. I like that. Okay. Once again, go ahead, go on back for me. Okay. We can kind of move our head just, yeah, does that feel a little bit better?
That does feel a little better.
Okay, so you can rotate your head just a little bit, right? So if you kind of watch the bill of my cap here, right, as I kind of go, right, if you watch the bill of my cap, you see how it kind of comes over here?
Yeah.
So you're getting like this and it's kind of like that. So that's probably where you're getting that restrictive feeling
Yes.
throughout your chest and your neck, if I had to make it back.
So, okay.
Okay, so allow your head to rotate just a little bit to allow that turn to turn back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. That left arm feel like it was parallel to that stick on that one?
The last one, I thought it did. I thought it was, but
Okay.
it felt a little looser than the one before it.
Okay. So once again, let's set up again. Okay. All right, so as we kind of go, kind of move you here. All right.
Okay.
Shaft parallel to the one on the ground.
Yep.
Now we're just going to replace that left arm. Good. Okay, now you got your elbow in a good position. You got your hands in front of your sternum. Now all we want to kind of do is just feel like we drive that back down and then rotate through. There you go. Okay, that's all we got to do. Okay.
Every time.
Every time, repeat. Okay, so I'm going to get this ball right on over here.
Okay.
Okay, step on into where you want to be. Okay, and I'm going to have this kind of as a reference. Okay, for you. All right, good. Now, good. Very good, okay? And let's just feel like we get the ball in that tee out of the ground. Okay. Get that off. Here we go again. Once again. Yeah. Better. Good work. Okay. There we go. Good, we're getting some height. I saw the arm just get a little bit too far back behind us, okay? All right. But good work of getting that club back in front of us though, okay? Good. Did you feel like you were falling back a little bit?
Yeah, I felt kind of loose.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to kind of do this to you just a little bit here. So go ahead and set up for me. Okay, so I'm going to have you put your foot up on this. There you go, okay? So what we're going to kind of have the feeling of, right, hands are going to be just a little bit forward, okay? Want to have the feeling, I just want to make sure that we're going forward as we go through.
Okay.
Okay? Not falling back. Much better.
That's a weird feeling.
Yeah,
That's a weird feeling.
right? But had much better contact. You could hear that,
Yeah.
right? Good job. Okay. So go ahead and set up for me. All right, get. Good. Good. Okay. Is that where we want to be right there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put that right here in front. Okay, hands just a little bit in front of the ball for me. Very good. Okay, try to get that left arm parallel to the stick on the ground. Feel yourself trying to fall back a little bit?
I did.
Okay.
Felt that one. Felt that one.
Okay, good. So I'm going to kind of move this guy just a little bit right there. You go ahead and set on up where you want to be. That's great. We'll put our foot right on there, cradle it. There you go, good. Give me a little bit wider stance than that. There you go, just a little bit. There you go, good. All right, and just give me a small swing here. Here we go. Good job.
That sounded nice.
Good job. Okay, much better contact.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that one.
Good, good. All right, here we go. All right, go ahead and set on in there. All right, so we're going to kind of be over here instead of getting out of that ditch.
Okay.
All right, kind of give you a fair chance. There we go. Get yourself a good stance, right? Just a little bit wider than what you're used to. There we go. Put this guy on up there. Good, good. Okay, hands in front of the ball a little bit. There we go. Let's go. Better. Okay. Does that all make sense for you?
It does. It's like a feeling of like it's different than like how I normally feel.
Yeah.
But it does. It's making sense because like obviously like you can see the results with it. It does feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't have to try as hard if that makes sense. Like I feel like there was more effort beforehand.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's because I had to go back to compensate. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm out here as much. Like it feels shorter.
Yeah, less moving parts
Yeah.
is what I would kind of describe it as, right? So it's less moving parts instead of, when the club gets way back behind us, then I have to make some manipulation to get the club in front of us. And then for us, we're worrying more about getting this club in front of us instead of getting that lateral weight shift through and coming through, right? So once we can kind of get this more swinging on plane, right, we can focus on getting that weight shift going forward a little bit and driving that ball down, right? So remember, a little food for thought, okay, with the irons, okay? I want to feel like as I come through here, I have more of a negative shoulder plane, okay? If I was hitting the driver, I want to be more positive, okay? But as I kind of turn here, I want to feel like I'm driving that left shoulder down just a little bit as I come through here. And that's going to get my weight transfer going, right? And that's going to get me going forward instead of back.
With the scooping thing.
Correct,
Yes.
correct. Absolutely. Okay, let's keep going. Any questions other than that?
No.
Great.
Just, getting back into this.
Absolutely, right? Okay, so I'm going to kind of set this ball on up once again, and then we're just having that visual, having that thing right there in front of us. Here we go. There we go, good. So I may bring this guy on out for us, make it easier. Good. Good. Absolutely. Right? And that's a product of us keeping those arms in front of our chest instead of getting back behind us, right? Good. Okay, let's go again. I'll kind of get your foot on up in there. All right, good. Good. All right, there we go. Driving down and through, okay? Good swing right there, Christine. Good job. Good work. Okay. Let's take a look at that one. What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Good work right there. Okay. Left arm isn't so far back behind us now. Okay. Good. Still kind of working in front of us just a little bit, right? Getting a little steep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. But much better job of getting the left arm to go more along this line than getting stuck behind us. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. We're going to have to kind of work on getting this guy to kind of match more behind our right forearm. So if we kind of see Xander here.
Gets his way up there, yeah. Okay.
Right. So you can kind of see it's more between his forearms here a little bit, where yours is just getting out in the way just a little bit. So if I could get that shaft to kind of fall back behind us a little bit, it'd be a little bit easier for us. And I think we kind of, all right, we're kind of falling forward just a little bit. See the head?
Yeah. And I feel like in our last lessons we talked about like the follow through that like it's almost like I just lose everything. It's like I just take the wheel kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I don't control it. I don't control it down. That's
Right.
We've worked on that before. And
Right.
It's still a problem. But.
So the feeling would kind of be, at least for the follow through, right? If I said, hey, I want you to, if I put a guard right here and you got to stop, right? If I told you to stop, the momentum would carry you forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Instead of trying to steer it through, right? I want to feel, it's almost a feeling like I'm kind of getting here and I'm throwing the club into the ground a little bit, right? And then if I kind of got to stop here, feeling like I'm going to stop there, that momentum, my body's going to brace for the impact, but the club head's still got momentum and it's still going to go and it's going to get me to finish. Does that make sense a little bit right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go again. All right, set up for me. Okay, and let's just kind of give you a little bit of a feel here. Okay, so as we kind of go, you're doing really good with the arms.
Okay.
All right, bring it on back slowly for me. Good. All right, so getting just a little bit on the inside here.
Okay.
Right there. Good.
Okay.
Up. Okay. Now all we want to kind of feel like a little bit is that this club kind of goes back just a little bit for us.
Okay.
Okay, for you, you're kind of getting here.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just going to kind of feel like the left hip starts to turn out of the way.
Left hip.
So it's going to feel a little weight shift forward, and that's going to get that club to kind of drop for us a little bit, and it falls behind us a little bit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. Let me get her in the old cradle. Okay. Good. Get some height. I'm going to bring, so we don't have to keep resetting your foot there. We'll just get you in the old cradle here. Okay. So go ahead and set on up. We're going to have more of our right foot on this side, or right foot, yes. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Good. Good. Allow your lead knee to come back just a little bit. Okay, allow it to come back. That's going to help with your hip turn. Okay.
This feels very baseball.
Okay. Okay, so let me come around here behind you just a little bit. Okay, so as you kind of turn here, go ahead. All right, feel how the, yeah, there you go. Okay, feel how the knee's kind of coming in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, once again for me, please. Here. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, this way. Okay.
Yeah. So we just want to kind of feel, so I don't want to, the big thing I kind of see is as you kind of go, this knee kind of goes like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We want to kind of have that feeling. The knee comes in just a little bit. Okay. But I don't want it to go out like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Not an
Yeah.
aggressive-
So it's going to help you kind of turn just a little bit. Good. Very good. Mm-hmm. Down and through. Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Good. Mm-hmm. There you go. How does that feel for us?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
It's not a bad feeling, but it's just, I don't know. I think I might be thinking about it too much.
Okay, I'm going to take this guy on off for us. So step off real quick for me. There you go. Try to get a feel for it. Okay, good. All right. Good. Mm-hmm. There you go. Good. There you go. One more time for me. Good. Turn your head. There you go. All right. Don't feel so crunched here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, good, good. See, I had a few here, and I'll kind of turn this on for everybody. I'm sure it's getting a little warm. There you go. All right, let's hit a few here. Okay. Drive it down and through here, okay?
She went straighter.
There you go.
Right.
Good.
Right.
Let me see. Let me grab this guy. Okay, good. So I'm going to put him right here in front. All right, let's focus on getting that tee out of the ground for me, okay? Let's get that tee out of the ground. Boom!
Oh, wow. She was a ball.
Good ball. Good job right there.
Dang. I don't know if I've ever gotten that much better than somebody.
Good job. Good speed right there. Okay. Once again, let's focus on getting that tee out of the ground for me, okay? Good job with the angle of attack right there. Yep, very good. Okay. All right, didn't get the tee, did we?
No, didn't get the tee.
Okay, very good. Okay, good. Once again for me. All right, let's focus on getting that tee out of the ground, right? So, hands a little bit forward of the ball. There we go. Driving down and through. Feel like that lead shoulder's going down on the way through. Okay, good. One more time for me. All right. Feel like we're driving it down and through. And then I'm going to let you take a break for a sec. Good swing. Good job.
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you grab yourself a little water?
I feel like I'm not all the way back to like square one.
No.
I might be on like square 3.
There you go. Okay. So we're making contact, right? The big thing is for us right now is that we're getting loft on the ball. Okay.
That's something I'm not used to.
Good. Well, good.
She rolls.
Right, and that's what we're trying to get away from it, at least in this session, right? We want to make sure that we're getting height on the ball and we're getting some, and that's going to tell me that our angle of attack is more down, right, and not hitting behind the ball and falling back on our back foot.
That's a common problem.
Right, because what happens when that does, right, is just a small little talk about it here.
Yeah.
So if I get the club going in this direction right here, right, the ball's going to go up that club face is what we want, right? It's going to go on up. What happens is if I fall back, then the leading edge here hits the ball and I get that.
The rolling.
Okay, so that's why we want to try to get that weight, you know, as we move through, feeling like it's pressing into my left side, coming down and through, which is going to keep my hands slightly ahead of the club head and the ball as I come through, rotating my hips through and coming through. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's going to get the ball, as I said, to go up the club face and shoot out and away from us.
Gotcha.
Okay? And that's how loft is created. Okay? You know, the big misconception is that you got to kind of lift or help the ball into the air.
That's the conception I always have. It's
Right.
on the brain, like you have to help it because it's there and it needs help.
Right,
That's,
right.
That's what everything is. Like you gotta help it get there.
Absolutely. So we start to transition our weight back to our back foot and we start to lift up this way. And what happens is this angle, right? The hand is behind the head now, and now we're just hitting with the leading edge. Okay, so we really want to kind of have that feeling like I'm hitting like a punch shot down and through, right, for right now, and then really just trying to get loft on the ball. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Just a matter of doing it, you know.
Right, right. But to be honest with you, is as far apart as we've been since session to session,
like 6 months or something.
I'm pretty impressed by where we're at right
that's
now.
good.
For
Okay.
somebody that's been 6 months on the road and probably
Having touched a golf club. right?
good.
The setup that we're doing now, like with that would be for like all of the irons, right? Like the feeling that I have for like just the whole feeling that's for all of the irons. Just the different thing would be with the driver, which is when your weight's on the other, right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So once we tee the ball up, right, we've got to kind of traverse our spine angle just a little bit, so it's a little bit more behind the ball a little bit,
Okay.
right? And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to turn behind the ball aggressively, and we're trying to stay behind the ball and try to launch it up into the air. Okay? That's going to get our height, that's going to get our everything like that.
Yeah.
The only reason is because it's on a tee.
Okay.
Okay? Anything that's on the ground, we hit down,
Okay.
right? And anything that's in the air.
Yeah, that makes sense because yes, okay.
Right, so in the world of what we talk about, the shoulders, right, as I come with anything that's on the ground, I'm going to have more of a negative angle of attack. So you can see I'm down here like this. Once it's in the air, I want to have what we'd call a positive shoulder, so it'd be like this, okay?
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, transitioning from one to the other, right? But right now, the big thing for us is probably more hitting irons so we get that consistent
yeah.
shot. Because we're only going to hit like a couple drivers in a round or so like that, but we're
Yeah.
going to be hitting irons consistently,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Around the
yes.
greens, in the fairways. It's going to be more of the popular shot, that and putting, right? So the other thing I want to kind of just see here with you a little bit, kind of give you just a
Yeah.
reference, right? So we have a pitching wedge in our hands, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to do is just make sure that our placement is correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of put this guy right here.
Okay.
We're going to put our left foot right here.
Okay.
I want to put my right foot right there. Okay, and you see where the ball's placed at.
Yes.
Okay, now what I want to ask you, is that about the same position that you've been keeping the ball in? Or does it seem more up, back?
No, that seems right.
Okay,
Like when I'm, yeah.
okay. So I just want to make sure that we're getting it in a good position
Okay.
to attack, right? Not
Yeah.
getting it too far back or too far forward.
Right.
Okay, so let's kind of keep that little mat right there.
Okay.
Okay, you can either step on it, step back, or whatever. We're just trying to go for where the foot placement would be. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Okay, so with that being said, let's grab this little guy right here. Okay, we'll put him right here in front. All right, and let's just go with what we've been talking about here. Feeling like our shoulders are moving in a negative angle of attack, right? Down. it back over here. Put him right there. Okay, good. Now I notice that we are going left a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to kind of see, as you take the club pointed up straight up towards me. Yeah. Is that face a little shut?
Yes. So
Okay.
I want it to be more.
Yeah, so as we go right here, let's try to get that face angle straight up and down.
Okay.
Okay. We want to keep it right there. And what it's going to look like probably to you is like it's filleted wide open.
Yeah.
Right? But what it is that we've got the face like this. And if we have any swing over the top, we're going to go, we start left and go left. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So let's try to keep that square
Okay.
right there and then just put that down on the ground. Okay.
Gotcha. So do I change where I put my hands then?
So it's just going to be like this. So go ahead and keep your hands there.
Okay.
It's going to feel like that.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's a different visual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So let's just kind of go with that.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now if I put that here, right, is that square?
That's square, yeah.
Okay. So it's such an optical illusion for us, right? Right? It's uncomfortable.
It is.
Right? It's uncomfortable, right? But there's two things that happen here. Our eyes have gotten adjusted to having this club closed,
Yep.
and our hands have related to that feel.
Yes.
Right? So we've got to kind of change that just a little bit. So we're going to kind of feel like the face is open here.
Okay.
Okay? It may be, you know, we may struggle just for a couple swings here a little bit to
Okay,
get
yeah.
that look,
Yeah.
right? But the big thing is we're hoping that it either stays on line or maybe goes a little bit to the right now.
Okay.
And try to get rid of that big left that
Okay.
we've got, okay? Very good. All right, driving down and through. Here we go. Kind of fell back on that one. Did you feel that?
I did feel that one.
Okay. All right. There's a lot that I'm asking of you here. Okay, so be patient with yourself. There we go. Good. Good. Okay, hands are just slightly ahead of the ball. Very good. Just hit down and through. I know it's tough. It's a tough look right now. Yeah, there you go. Much better. You see how we're keeping it more on our target
Yeah.
line? You could play with that, right? You know what I mean? We could,
Yeah.
but if we're over here in the bush,
It's where I am most of the time now.
correct. Correct. So I think that's just a face angle thing that we're having,
Okay.
right? And our hands have gotten used to that feel,
They have, yeah.
right? And our eyes are like, this is how it's got to be, right? That's how the brain learns. Okay, good. Okay, hands just slightly forward for me. Good, good. Yep. So the other thing that we're going to experience here now that we've got the face a little bit open is that we're keeping the loft on the face,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But once I start to close that, we lose loft and we start to get that low ball a little bit. Okay. All right, good.
Okay.
I'm seeing some good stuff here, okay? Any questions?
No, it feels weird.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It feels weird.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't. All right. All right.
It looks wrong.
All right, hands forward just a little bit of the ball. Very good. Let's hit down and through. Let's get that tee out of the ground for me, please.
I feel like I smacked that.
Okay. But you felt yourself fall back a little
I did,
bit?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. A lot of moving parts, right?
Yeah.
I get you. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, that's okay. The big thing, as I said today, right, we're getting loft on the
Yeah.
ball, which is big.
Very rare for me.
right? That's the big thing right now for today's sesh, for sure. All right, here we go. Let me grab another little tee here for us so we got a little reference
So
point.
would you ever use this with the face closed?
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's, yes. I mean, there's specialty shots that I would use if I had to get around a corner, if I had to keep it low.
Okay.
If I was playing like a little chip shot up a hill, I'm probably going to shut down the face a little bit, swing to the inside, and put some curvature on it, right? So a draw spin is going to run more uphill than a cut spin, right? Cut's going to have a negative reaction to that. So yeah, there are times that you're going to have that, but that's more of a specialty shot or something like that when I'm in trouble where I shouldn't be, right? But if I'm just trying to go down the fairway, I want to try to keep that face as square as possible, keep the loft on the face as much as possible. The big thing for us right now is the club face is a little closed. You can see that we kind of shut the face down a little bit, so we might have some issue with the grip a little bit that we need to look at. But our path is really far this way. So we're swinging about towards the third baseman, okay? We want to have that feeling like we're swinging out towards the second baseman, okay? So even if I have a closed club face, if I can get it to start out here, the face will bring it back. Does that make sense?
That makes sense,
The path sends it, the face bends it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So when you're using when I'm using this, I'm always going to want to have it open then most of the time, right?
It's going to feel open to you,
Okay.
right?
Oh, yeah, it's going to feel open to me.
Right. What I would kind of do to get a good feel for that, for a drill, right, is I would just kind of get up against, we could even use a block right here. This is perfect, right? So I would get something like this, a straight edge, right? And then I would just kind of get my club just like this, okay? And then I would take my grip, okay? So if you kind of look face on here, you can see my hands are just in line with this wood probably, but you can see my face
is straight on,
right. So you would kind of be more like this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's come on over here and give that a shot for me, okay? Get yourself a good feel for that. Yeah. Yeah, so I would just get that. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. So it gives you even a better look right there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and that's really where we need to kind of set up.
Okay.
Okay, your hands are right in line with the inner part of your left thigh. The face is square, so point it out towards me. Okay, good. And what we start to do is we start to get a feeling in our hands where the weight needs to be for the face, right? And the other thing is we start to get an optical of where that needs to be.
Okay.
So once we start to get out there on the field and we see this, we know that's wrong, right? But right now we're not aware of that, right? So once again, get that kind of square, and then I would just kind of set up perfect, okay? That's where we want to kind of be, okay? And once again, what that does is it keeps the loft on the face, because once I start to do this, we start to turn that loft down, okay? And that's going to give us really that guide left and going, okay? So once again, there you go, okay? Good.
Yeah, I think I'm just so used to looking at it the wrong way now that it just feels wrong. It looks wrong.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
brain's like, this is not right.
Absolutely. Your brain's made that connection to that feel, and now we've just got to kind of change that around.
To fix it.
Right? Yeah. Good. Okay, so let's kind of give that a couple swings. Good. Good job. I know it's left, but the big thing is I'm seeing it up in the air. That's big.
It was nice to see,
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Oop. You're sending that tee. I'm telling you, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, good.
Right? That means that our angle of attack is down, right? So if I look right here, right, that's good. Okay. That means that you're hitting it about 3 or 4 inches ahead of the ball. Is your low point, which is good, instead of it being, back. Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. Good work.
Yay.
Okay. Let me see if we got some tees back here. What do we got? Well, get him there. Oh, there you are. Good. That would make sense. Okay. Here we go again. Okay. There we go. Good swing. Good swing right there.
That felt pretty good.
Good job. And that's playable, right? That is playable. Right? That's a very playable shot right there. Good work.
I feel like we've come so far now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to you. Praise yourself. You're the one doing all the hard work. I'm just up here chatting away. There we go. Good. Good setup. Perfect. Get that face a little bit open for me. There we go. Good. Very good. Thank you. Good. Okay. All right.
Well, at least we're consistent with the lips.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. All right. So let's kind of do this. I got some baskets right here. Let me see. I'm gonna start with this and see if it just kind of starts us, or we kind of work on a few other things. So I'm gonna kind of get this thing right here.
Okay.
Okay. We want to feel like we're swinging. Okay. In this path as we come through.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of move this guy on out so we don't feel intimidated by it. But that's the path that we want to kind of have a little bit, right? Because our path right now is over the top, right? And then we need to kind of work on the face angle a little bit. Okay, good work. Okay, so, all right, loft on the face, good. Swinging out along that direction for me, please. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, there you go. Good. Very good. Okay, let's swing out towards that second baseman for me. Good job.
Okay.
Good job. It's good work right there. Okay. As I said, big thing for today's session is getting loft on the face. Keeping that loft, getting loft. Okay. Good. Okay. So our path is now positive, which is really good.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
We're getting loft on the ball.
Okay.
Really good.
Yes.
Okay. We just got to kind of work on that face angle a little bit, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the last part of the recipe here,
Ah, yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to get the old impact bag.
Okay.
Okay. What I want you to kind of do, and let me demonstrate here
Yeah.
for you real quick. Okay. And this is just a feel.
Okay.
Okay. It's not what we actually do. Okay. But I want us to get the feeling that we're getting the heel into the bag.
Okay.
Okay. Right now you're getting too much of the toe.
Okay.
Okay, into the bag, too much face rotation. So we're going to kind of swing and just kind of feel like we're getting the heel into it just a
Okay.
little bit. Okay, it's a feel, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to try to get you to do is not to get the face swinging so far closed for
Gotcha.
us. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Kind of give me a couple, right? Just feel like we're going through our whole process and just feel like you're getting the heel into the bag a little bit.
Full swing or the half swing?
Let's go with a half swing, just trying to go for a feel, right? What our hands need to kind of feel. There you go. Okay, good. Again. Good.
Oh yeah, they feel forward. They make yeah. They
Okay,
forward. Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
don't feel so much flip with the
Yeah,
hands.
Yeah, it's not a yeah.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. One more time for me. All right. So remember, it's a feel. It's not what we actually
Right,
do.
yeah.
I'm just trying to get you to feel something different than what
Yeah.
you're already doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels forward. Not yeah.
Correct. So we may hit a few shots here going out to the right, and that's perfectly natural because we're trying to get away from this big left. Okay. But just give me a couple swings and try to repeat that in your mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Feeling like the face is more open?
That one felt a little closed.
Okay. Good. All right. Good. 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 Feel like the
Just, like, part of it, like, I know that I need to keep them forward, but it almost feels like fishy. I don't know, like loosey. I don't know, like I can't describe them.
okay.
They're like not controlled. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Well, some say you got to lose control to gain control.
Okay.
All right. So that's kind of it, right? You may be trying to control it or steer it down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? And we need to kind of feel like we're just letting, once we go here, let that club do what it's going to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense a little bit?
It does.
Okay.
It's just a matter of what I'm doing.
I gotcha. Absolutely. But I think we've come a long way
Yeah,
here.
I think
Right?
so,
So, as I said, the big thing in today's session is just making sure that we're getting the ball airborne. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get our club path more to a positive.
Yep.
That's a big thing. Keeping loft on the face, right? And then the next part of the mix is making sure that we're not flipping the face as we come through impact, right? And that's just going to take time,
Yeah.
right? But if we get 3 out of the 4 done today,
Yeah.
that's pretty
that
good,
It is, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Especially after time off, time away.
Yeah, right? Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day.
That is true. That is true.
Okay, I'm fine with that right now. Okay,
It's not the bush.
all right. All right, we gotta see it change to know that we can change it, right? Good job. Okay, good. Good. Go once again. So I'm going to kind of do this to you. Good. Go there. And then I'm going to put this little T over here.
Okay.
Just a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're just trying to get that path to go out to the right a little bit. Okay. That's fine. Good job. That's good work right there. Okay, did you feel that club releasing more down our target line than coming over here? Good. Very good. That's good work right there. That's putting it all together. That's getting all 4 that we were looking for today. Good job. Good work. Good swing. That's playable, right? Mm-hmm. Good.
Okay.
And I like how we're getting loft on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's big.
Nice for a change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so I'm just kind of placing this tee just a little bit on the outside here, just a little bit, to kind of get your eyes to kind of move in that direction just a little bit, right? Good. Good.
Okay.
Very good swing.
Nice.
Okay, good job. Go again. Okay, here you go. that's fine,
Totally getting there.
right? We were living over here in this park,
Yeah, we were.
right?
under.
That is playable,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, you know, the big thing is at this point right now is getting our cone of mist from out of here and more into here, right? That's a findable ball, that's a playable ball. We can continue on. But over here in the water, we got to get another ball, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's no fun, is
No,
it?
it's not.
Right? Good work.
Okay.
Okay. There we go again. Good. And I'm just going to, as I said, kind of put this slightly just onto the outside right there for us. All right. Good work. She's a machine now.
Okay.
She's a machine. I love it. Good work.
It's
Good.
just nice that there's height with that.
Yes. All right. Once again. Good work. Good work. Good work. Okay, go again. All right. Maybe a little bit more left than we want, but that is so much better than where we were over here, okay?
Okay.
That's good. All right. Any questions right now? Anything I can kind of answer for you? Anything kind of going through the mind a little bit right now?
No, I think it's just more of like a feel, and then like just telling my brain that like this is normal, not like that it's normal. It's supposed to look that way.
Yeah.
Just trying to like retrain the eyeballs, I guess.
Yeah. So it's just, if we can kind of just, get in a little station like this, as I said, a straight edge, and just kind of grip, regrip, and look, and kind of get a feel, move our hands a
Yeah.
little bit, right? And really, I love the word that you said, getting your feels, right? Because what feels to me is going to feel different to you,
Yep.
right? But getting what kind of anchors into our mind what that feeling is, and what optically is going to help us with that feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It
Good.
does. Especially when I'm like so used to it looking at like the wrong, like the a different way, and it's like.
Absolutely. Good. 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 Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah, good. All right. Let's feel like we're swinging out towards that second baseman for me, okay? Just a little bit. That's okay. Okay. Did we fall back a little bit on that one?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There we go. One more
And
time.
it was at the moment when I realized you can't stop.
All right. Good swing. Good swing. Let's do about 3 or 4 more.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good discussion of what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Okay.
Okay.
All right, because I think that'll put us at about almost close to 50 balls.
Yeah.
And that's about, if we were having a pitch count, that's about it right now.
Yeah.
right? I don't want to get you all tired out and start getting into bad habits and getting frustrated, okay? Good. Boom. Good job. Okay. Once again, there we go. All right, just placing that tee just a little slightly outside of the ball. Good. Oh, we're even on the other side of the line. That's good. Okay, good work. Good work. All right, last one.
Okay.
And then let's have a discussion of what we need to kind of work on.
Okay.
A lot of good stuff here. Good. Very good.
Okay.
Right, so for today's session, the big thing was making sure that we're getting loft on the ball,
yeah.
right? Getting it up, right? Making sure that our angle of attack is down and not falling back. Okay, so that was the first part right there. Okay, the second part that we kind of talked about, and I'll take the club here real quick if you stand right over there for me. Right, the big thing that we kind of worked on was we had this little stick right here, right? So we want to kind of feel like as we get our hand just past our foot, okay, shaft is going to be kind of parallel to the one on the ground. And then all I really want to kind of do is if I'm right here, just kind of turn up to the top. Okay, you can see that my left arm maybe just a little inside that, but it's kind of parallel to what it is right there. Now the other thing that we kind of worked on, right, is we put a little T in front, right, making sure that we feel like we're getting down and through. We're going to get that ball and then get that T out of the ground, getting our angle of attack down. Okay, the big revelation for us today was what the club face is doing, right? So, you know, things that we can kind of work on, right, is if I set up here, I want to, you know, get the husband right there and say, hey, is that open or closed? You'll see it too, but give him a chance to look at it too and work on it together, right? Life's a team sport. Let's do it together, right? Okay. The other thing that we can kind of do here, right, is kind of get like an old block of wood, side of a, you know, wall. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to go out and buy anything. But just get that thing, I personally like just kind of getting in the right hand to start off with just to get it set because I'm right hand dominant maybe. But then just kind of get into my setup here and then just make sure that that's square, right? Getting a feel for where, you know, my hands are, where my eyes need to look, right? And you'll notice that the handle is just in line with this wood or something like that or just ahead of the wall, right? But the face is going to be open or square, okay? That's going to be the big thing right there. Now, the other thing that we really kind of focused on here just a little bit, right, was our swing path.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So get like an alignment rod or a box. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, as I said, right? And then let's just kind of get that out to here, right? Right? We want to have the feeling as I have my exit pattern, it's swinging out towards that second baseman, okay, coming through. Okay. Now, the last and final thing was our face angle. Right? Making sure that we're not swinging that toe over too much. So for us, what we kind of did was we had the old impact bag here, okay? And what we want to kind of do for us right now is that we want to kind of feel like we really want to get to the point where the club is straight, okay, square, we can work like that. But if we don't want to be doing this, right? Getting the toe to flip over too much for us. So we may want to do just a couple little drills where we get the club just, you know, quarter swing here and feel like we're dragging, getting the heel into it, right? And that's going to get more of that face square for us, right? You're still, I can tell you that's going to be a feel, but I can tell once we get through there, the face is going to be square for you. And we're getting some really good results, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
Any questions?
No. I think it's just kind of getting back into it and everything.
To be honest with you, this has been one of the better sessions we've ever had.
Oh, good. Okay.
You know,
cool.
to be honest with
Awesome.
you. This is, you know, and I think I think for you, having the break is good,
I
right?
think
We
so,
got all
yeah.
the swing thoughts that we
Yeah.
had out of there, right?
Yeah.
We came back kind of fresh and new, right, to relearn everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think this has been a great session.
No, I think so too, yeah.
It's definitely, without a doubt, the most that I've seen the ball getting up in the air for us,
Same.
right?
Yeah.
And the best that I've seen so far of getting rid of the left as much. Okay, that's
Yeah.
been a big thing right there.
Yeah.
But as I said, the goal for today's session was just to have the ball get loft.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big thing for us right there, is making sure that we're getting our angle of attack, getting it up, right? And not killing grub worms as we go through. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
get it.
What questions do you have for me, Christina?
I think I'm good right now. I think it's just, glad to say I didn't lose everything kind of thing.
No, I think it's all stored back there, right?
Yeah.
I think the big thing is that you came back fresh, ready to go,
Yeah.
right?
The break was probably really nice to kind of help with, again, like all the thoughts going through and just kind of giving it a minute to settle.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, keep working on a few of these things. I would say that you probably need to work on this for probably about a week or two.
Okay.
Try to find time. I know you got a very busy schedule,
Yeah.
right? I videotaped it, so I'll send that on over to you so you've got some
Yeah.
some reference points. But, working on our, setup a little bit, right? Making sure that we're in a good position right there. I didn't see any issue there,
Good.
right? And then just as I said, trying to get that shaft parallel to the ground, arm parallel, down and through, out and away.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm good. I'm glad to see that some of my problems are still my problems. So
Yeah,
I didn't have any new ones, which is always a good thing.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
did really good.
Yeah.